In the haunting hours of the night, when the world slumbers and shadows stretch long, a graveyard stands as a somber monument to the passage of time. Its ancient headstones, weathered by the relentless march of the years, loom against the inky darkness, their names and dates barely visible in the faint moonlight. The wind whistles through the iron gates, a mournful serenade to the souls laid to rest within. As the witching hour approaches, a chill settles over the graveyard, the air charged with an otherworldly presence, as if the spirits of the departed whisper their tales. The silence is broken only by the occasional hoot of an owl or the rustling of leaves in the breeze. The trees that surround the graveyard cast twisted shadows, their branches reaching out like skeletal arms, yearning for some unknown prize. The grass grows tall and untended, as if nature herself is reluctant to tread upon this hallowed ground. As midnight approaches, a strange mist begins to rise from the earth, slowly enveloping the headstones, making it difficult to distinguish between the living and the dead. As if the veil between worlds has begun to thin, the mist swirls and eddies, taking on grotesque shapes that dance and weave in the air, like the phantoms that are said to haunt this place. A faint murmur of voices can be heard, whispering and hissing through the night, as if the spirits are restless, awakening from their eternal slumber at the approach of the witching hour. The air grows heavy with the scent of decay, a grim reminder of the fragility of life and the inevitability of death. Moonlight pierces the mists, casting a pallid glow over the graveyard. The tombstones are now bathed in a spectral light, their inscriptions standing out in sharp relief. The voices grow louder, becoming clearer now, as if the spirits are trying to communicate, to reach out from beyond the grave. A sudden gust of wind causes the trees to creak and sway, adding to the eerie atmosphere that has settled upon the graveyard, as if the very air is charged with a supernatural energy. Shadows dance across the ground as the eerie breeze continues to blow, as if the souls of the departed are moving about, restless in their eternal slumber. A sudden chill runs up your spine as if unseen eyes are watching your every move. The voices grow louder still, becoming a constant hum that echoes through the graveyard. The mist thickens, almost like a fog, making it difficult to see more than a few feet in front of you. The headstones seem to move in the fog, as if they are shifting closer and closer together. The mist is now so thick that it's difficult to see anything at all. The voices are now a constant babble, a cacophony of whispers and mutterings, as if the spirits are all trying to speak at once. The headstones seem to lean inwards like sentinels ready to pounce. A feeling of unease settles over you, as if you are not alone in the graveyard, as if something unseen is watching, waiting for the right moment to reveal itself. As the witching hour draws to a close, the mist begins to thin, and the voices fade into the night, leaving the graveyard eerily silent once again. The headstones stand dark and ominous against the now brighter night sky, their secrets hidden deep within the earth. The air is still, as if the entire world is holding its breath, waiting for the moment the sun will rise and the darkness will give way to a new day. As you turn to leave, a gust of wind makes you look back, and for a moment, you swear you see a figure standing among the headstones watching you. The figure stands motionless, watching you with unseen eyes, its presence both chilling and intriguing. You feel a strange pull, as if the figure is trying to tell you something, but you can't quite put your finger on what it is. As you stand there, transfixed, the figure slowly fades, returning to the shadows from which it came. The graveyard is silent once more, as if the encounter had never happened, leaving you with a sense of unease and a lingering feeling that something supernatural had just occurred. The event replays in your mind, the image of the mysterious figure imprinted on your memory. You shake your head, trying to dismiss it as mere imagination, but the feeling of unease persists. The air still feels charged with an otherworldly energy, as if the graveyard is not quite as empty as it seems. You hurry away, glad to leave the eerie presence behind, but the memory of the encounter lingers, a secret between you and the spirits that inhabit the graveyard at the witching hour. In the days that follow, you find yourself reliving the encounter, remembering the whispered voices, the eerie silence, the feeling of being watched. The graveyard has taken on a new significance in your mind, a place of mystery and secrets. You find yourself drawn to it, wanting to uncover the truth behind the figure you saw that night. However, as time passes, you begin to wonder if the figure was really there at all, or if it was just a product of a tired imagination playing tricks on you. The graveyard looks different now in the cold light of day. It's just a simple place with headstones and trees, and the only voices are the distant calls of birds. You take a deep breath, trying to shake off the unease that has stayed with you since your night encounter. Then step through the gates. The graveyard seems normal, peaceful even, as if nothing strange could ever happen here. You look around, but there's no sign of the figure you saw before, and for a moment, you wonder if maybe it really was just a product of your own imagination. You return to the graveyard as the sun sets, the sky darkening to a deep indigo as night begins to fall. The atmosphere is different now, more ominous and foreboding. The trees seem to lean closer, their branches like skeletal fingers reaching out to grab you. The headstones loom in the darkness, their shadows long and dark against the ground. As you walk through the graveyard, you feel a heavy, oppressive presence, as if you are under the gaze of unseen eyes. The feeling of being watched only grows stronger as you move deeper into the graveyard. The shadows seem to shift and move in the corner of your eye, as if something is lurking just out of sight. The air is thick with a sense of anticipation, as if something supernatural is about to happen. The silence is so complete that you can hear your own heartbeat, the sound pounding in your ears like a drum. The feeling of dread is almost overwhelming now, the oppressive presence growing stronger with each step. The shadows seem to come alive, writhing and twisting in the darkness. You feel as if you are being watched from every side, as if 1,000 unseen eyes are fixed on you. The silence is almost deafening, the only sound the soft crunch of your footsteps on the grass. Suddenly, a creaking sound echoes through the graveyard, as if someone is moving amongst the headstones. You spin around, trying to find the source of the sound, but there's nothing there. The creaking continues, coming from different directions, as if something is moving around you in the shadows. The presence is almost tangible now, as if an invisible force is bearing down on you, pressing in from all sides. The silence is shattered by the sound of a twig snapping, and you whip around just in time to see a shadowy figure dart behind a tree, disappearing into the darkness. The shadowy figure reappears, coming closer now, its steps slow and deliberate. You can make out the shape of a tall, thin silhouette moving closer with each breath you take. The sense of dread is overwhelming, your heart pounding in your chest as fear grips you tightly. You take a step back, and another, trying to distance yourself from the eerie presence, but it continues to approach, its movements smooth and fluid, like a predatory animal stalking its prey. You wake with a start, the image of the shadowy figure still fresh in your mind. It takes a moment for the realization to sink in, but you quickly realize it was all a dream. The feeling of relief is tinged with a sense of unease, as the events of the dream were so real that you're not quite sure where the line between reality and fantasy lies. You look around your room, the familiar surroundings a small comfort, but the memory of the graveyard and the supernatural presence lingers, a reminder that sometimes nightmares can feel almost real.